Episode title: Peppa's Mirror. One cloudy afternoon, Peppa and George went exploring the attic. They had never been there alone before. The air was heavy, filled with the smell of dust and something else, something metallic. They found old boxes, broken toys, a cracked photo frame with no picture inside, and something wrapped in a dusty sheet. It was a mirror. But this mirror didn't show Peppa. It showed something else. At first, it copied her movements, but with a slight delay. She raised her hand. It followed, a moment too late. Then, it smiled on its own. Peppa froze. Her reflection didn't blink. Its eyes seemed darker than they should be. Peppa turned to George. "Did you see that?" she asked. But George was staring at the mirror, his eyes wide. And when Peppa looked again, his reflection was gone. That evening, Peppa sat at the dinner table with her family. Everyone was eating, except her. She couldn't stop thinking about the mirror. When she glanced at the dark window behind Mummy Pig, she thought she saw it again. Standing there, watching. That night, Peppa couldn't sleep. She heard footsteps above her, slow and heavy. When she looked up, the mirror was no longer in the attic. It was in her room. The reflection was standing on the other side. It moved, even though she didn't. Its mouth began to move, whispering words Peppa couldn't hear. She covered her ears, but the whispers grew louder, until they became a voice. It said, "Come with me. It's better here." The next morning, Mummy Pig called for Peppa, but she didn't answer. In her bed, there was only her dress, and in the mirror, a small figure stood, smiling. Peppa's family says she was never the same again. She no longer cast a reflection. Or maybe she was the reflection all along. Do not trust your mirror.
It was supposed to be a normal visit. Peppa and George went to Grandma Pig's house for the weekend. But Grandma was different. She spoke softly, never smiled, and told them not to go near the basement. That night, Peppa woke up. She heard something, a soft dragging noise from below. Then, a whisper. Peppa, stay upstairs. Peppa peeked out her door. George was gone. His little toy dinosaur was lying in the hallway, broken in half. The sound came again, from the basement door. Peppa slowly went down the stairs. The house felt colder with each step. At the bottom, she saw the door slightly open, a faint red light glowing inside. George, she whispered. A small shadow moved behind the door. Then she heard Grandma's voice, but deeper, slower. He wanted to see Grandpa. Peppa's hand shook as she pushed the door open. Inside, there were shelves filled with jars. Something was moving inside them, small, pink, twitching shapes. And in the corner, Grandpa Pig's chair. Empty. But the sound of breathing filled the room. A heavy shape moved in the dark. 2 eyes opened. Grandpa Pig's voice growled. Welcome home, Peppa.
Peppa, dinner's ready.
Coming, Mummy.
Delicious. Delicious.
At night, Peppa woke up. The house was strangely quiet. The clock wasn't even ticking. Everything looked familiar, but somehow wrong. The light from the window was dim, the walls were gray, and the air was cold and heavy, as if in a basement. George was sitting next to him. He wasn't sleeping. He stared straight into the center of the room without blinking. "George, what do you see?" Peppa whispered. He slowly raised his paw and pointed forward. On the wall where the rainbow painting had hung earlier in the day, there was now a door. New, narrow, blue like the evening sky, but with a slight glow. Peppa came closer. The door seemed painted right on the wall, but when she touched it, the wood was as cold as ice. "It wasn't there before," she said. George didn't answer. He stepped forward and reached for the handle. The door opened without a single creak. There was a thick blue fog from inside. The air outside the door was trembling, as if something alive was moving there. George took a step forward. 1 second, and he disappeared. The door closed on its own. Peppa screamed, but the sound seemed to sink into the air. She banged on the door, called for her brother, but she remained cold and mute. A few minutes later, the door opened again. George was standing in the doorway. Dirty, matted fur, pale, glassy eyes. "Where have you been?" Peppa whispered. He answered softly in a strange voice. "There are blue rooms. And the shadow. She's waiting." The next night the door appeared again, but now it's in a different place. Sometimes it's in the kitchen, sometimes right by the bed. Peppa tried not to look, but every time it seemed that someone was breathing from behind the door. A soft tapping is heard. It's like someone's waiting for it to be opened. The next morning, the door was gone. George was calm. "Where were you last night?" "What is it?" she asked. He smiled and said, "I'm already home." And then Peppa realized that of all the doors in their house, one should never open now.